They say you can't have everything, and when it comes to automobiles, those words couldn't be truer. Each vehicle comes with a compromise, so you try to find the vehicle that best suits your needs. For a lot of folks, the PPV or pickup platform vehicle ticks the most boxes. These SUVs seem to have almost everything we need: a frugal yet powerful engine, a spacious interior, and the ruggedness to tackle our less than perfect road conditions. So what's the compromise? To help answer this question, we take a closer look at the Isuzu MU-X. Starting with the interior, you'll find that the MU-X gives you all the basics and then some. There's adequate storage areas, cup holders, and charge ports accessible to most passengers. The 8-inch infotainment has Bluetooth connectivity and navigation. There's a single-zone automatic climate control system with separate controls for rear passengers. The instrument panel looks a tad bit dated compared to some of the competition due to its analog gauges, but you still get a multi-information screen in the middle. Stepping at the back, second-row passengers will be treated to heaps of space. Leg and headroom is abundant, and the second-row seats recline quite a bit, which perfectly suits the 10-inch flip-down monitor found at the back, which is just what you need if you're being driven along EDSA. I'm sure EDSA traffic can accommodate at least a couple of episodes of your favorite series. As far as the third row is concerned, ingress is easy and an average-sized adult can actually sit there without scraping their knees against the second-row seats. Although your thighs may long for more support during long drives, which is not surprising for vehicles in this class. Overall, the interior of the MU-X is not lacking in any way. There are some hard plastics here and there, but all touchpoints are quite soft. It's not ultra-modern, but it doesn't feel bland or old either. You even get ambient lighting, which is a really nice touch. So at this point, there seems to be no compromises in getting a PPV. Well, let's take it for a drive to see if this still holds true. Okay, so driving the MU-X. The first thing you notice about this is that the visibility is actually pretty good. You get a nice commanding view of the road. And driving it doesn't take a lot of getting used to. Even if it's a big vehicle, it's easy to make calculated turns. When it comes to driving dynamics, cars are usually the benchmark. Utility vehicles often get a lot of praise depending on how closely they resemble the driving traits of a car. Good driving dynamics is usually associated with how well the vehicle responds to the driver's inputs, thereby optimizing how in control the driver feels. PPVs, because of their sheer size and body-on-frame design, are usually at a disadvantage in terms of ease of driving. The thing that stands out the most about the MU-X is really its ride comfort. The double wishbone suspension gives it a very compliant ride, to the point that it doesn't even feel like a PPV. So let's see how it does in terms of acceleration. So the MU-X comes with a 3-liter CRDI, and it pumps out 174 horsepower with 380 Newton meters of torque. So just to put that into perspective, a Fortuner has 145 horsepower and 420 Newton meters of torque. And the difference between the two is that since this has more horsepower than the Fortuner, this actually feels faster when you're driving it at full throttle. Now, since the Fortuner has higher torque figures than this, the difference there is that the Fortuner feels a bit lighter off the line and is a little bit more responsive to your pedal inputs. As far as the steering is concerned, it leans more towards the heavy side. The good thing about weighted steering is that as much as it requires a bit of effort to maneuver in tight spaces, it actually feels more planted on the road and it gives you better feedback. So personally, I don't mind the heavy steering. The steering ratio is not that quick, but that's expected for something this huge. Now the soft suspension is great in terms of ride comfort, although it does cause the car to lean a bit when cornering. But that's fine, given the fact that this grips pretty well. So the MU-X, or most PPVs for that matter, may not be able to fully replicate how a car drives. And yes, that is a compromise. But it doesn't mean the MU-X is a chore to drive either. If you're just driving it in the city and cornering at decent speeds when you're out of town, you really won't feel much of a difference. Because despite its size, it is still quite easy to park and maneuver, thanks largely to its visibility and aids such as a backup camera and sensors. Acceleration and braking will require a tad bit more pedal input, but there is enough to make calculated overtakes and predictable stops. Overall, the MU-X strikes a great balance between mundane and extravagant, because it gives you everything you need and some of the things you want without going over the top. What it offers in terms of features and performance is proportional to how it is priced compared to its competition. It is definitely worth considering if you value space, practicality, and its best trait, ride comfort.